Hi, welcome. I'm Bill Ney from Mashpee TV. I'm here today with Selectman Andrew Gottlieb, and we're talking about the sewer timeline, wastewater treatment plan, and things of that nature. So, Andrew, we heard in the Selectmen's meeting last Monday that there was a timeline, and there are certain goals that need to be met according to the timeline and how funding happens for the sewage treatment. Can you fill us in on all that again?
Sure. So it starts off with a good news story. And the good news here is that the town has qualified for state financial assistance in the form of a no or low interest loan, and then additional funds to reduce the actual amount of the principal borrowed from a new source of funding called the Cape and Islands Water Protection Trust Fund. So with that good news comes some performance deadlines, as the state fund that supports local projects is oversubscribed in this competition among communities statewide. And so in order to make sure that the projects for which money is allocated move forward and towns don't sit on the money, the state has created some performance timeline deadlines that Mashpee, along with everybody else who's getting funding this year, will have to comply. So it's actually pretty simple and straightforward. The first is that the town needs to have its town meeting and ballot question authorizations approved by the voters prior to June 30th of this year. So the Board of Selectmen will be putting an article on town meeting warrant that asks the voters to authorize a certain sum of money, the total amount which will become finalized in the middle of March, that would be sufficient to construct the wastewater treatment facility and the sewers that are going to be serving it as part of the phase one of the project. That's scheduled to go to town meeting in May. And then we will in all likelihood have a ballot question, which will be added to the town election, also scheduled now for May, that will ask the voters for a debt exclusion to cover some portion of the cost of the project, exact amount we are working on still. And those two questions, they both need to pass. The debt authorization at town meeting requires a 2/3 vote. The debt exclusion at the ballot requires a simple majority, but they both need to happen, and they both need to happen prior to June 30th. In the event one or both of those fails to happen, then the money that was being set aside to benefit the town of Mashpee will go to another community who has a project ready to go and meets those criteria for performance. Assuming that we do get the approval for those two, the second deadline, again, to keep projects moving forward, is for the town to have completed the design and created specifications that are suitable to be given to a contractor so that they can bid on the project and get us a contract to actually construct it. Those the final design plans and the bid specifications are due by October 15th. And again, were we to not meet that deadline, then we would forfeit our place in line, and that money would be allocated to another community. So there's a lot behind the scenes to make those two things happen. But the deadlines that are important for people to remember are June 30th to get the funding authorization and October 15th to have the plans and specifications completed.
So tell me again, how does the average resident help this happen? They need to come to town meeting.
Well, the first thing they can do, and they've already started by watching this little clip, is to get educated about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how the project will both benefit the broader community and what the project will cost them as individuals, whether they're serviced by it or not. And we will be rolling out through a series of public information sessions and other forms of material information to the general public as we refine the numbers and are able to convey to people with accuracy how much it's going to cost and what the funding cycle is that we're working with and where we're going to get money that doesn't come from property taxes. And we're working very hard to do that so that the amount we ask for property taxes is the absolute minimum that we have to obtain from the voters. So get educated. The second part is we need people to vote. We know we have objective information that there's overwhelming support for improved water quality within the town of Mashpee. The voters have been very clear about that. But it's not a majority of the people who decide. It's a majority of those who participate who decide. And so if you think clean water is a good idea and you don't come to town meeting, you diminish the impact of your voice. And we know that with COVID concerns, there are going to be people that have very legitimate concerns and fears about town meeting. May is a long way away. I don't have a crystal ball, but we've already started the conversation about how we can conduct town meeting in a way that provides people as much confidence that they're not risking their health by participating as we can. And that will evolve over the next couple of months as we see how the vaccine rollout's going, how people feel about it, what our options are, whether we're going to be inside or outside. And we've learned a lot having run a couple of town meetings last year. So pay attention and vote.
Sounds good. One other question. You mentioned our rank in the order of potentially getting a no or low cost loan from the state.
Yep. Yeah. So that the state that runs a statewide competition, it gets proposals from communities all across the Commonwealth. And there are more projects at a higher cost than there is state funding to support. And so it's a competitive process. They have a scoring system. Mashpee had the highest ranking project on the state list from Cape Cod this year. And that's a reflection of the state's view that, one, our waterways are highly degraded and are in great need of restoration, but also the value and merit of our project, that we were able to outcompete every other project on Cape Cod. And we're probably 12th or 13th statewide in ranking. So we are solidly on the funding list. And the only thing that will get in the way of our obtaining that funding is us, if we don't move the project along in accordance with the timelines that are applicable to every project on the state.
Excellent. So we need people to get educated and to get out and vote once they get educated.
Yep. And when they get educated, I think they'll believe that this project provides a important value to the community and is done in as cost effective and least obtrusive manner as we can.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Andrew. And we'll be hopefully getting more of these kind of information sessions as we move forward into the spring.
I can guarantee you that we will, as the entire Board of Selectmen, we're all committed to making sure that we provide as much information to the public as we can so that they walk into town meeting knowing what's at stake.
Great. Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. Take care.
You too.